Hey, what's going on today, guys? It's Trey. Welcome back to the channel. As always, welcome back to sunny, beautiful Germany. Today we are here at Kraftpaule to check out some of the best craft beer that Stuttgart has to offer. So stay tuned, let's get into it. Kraftpaule has been blessing Stuttgart with its amazing craft beer and delicious food since the year 2015. With ample seating and visually pleasing art and graffiti plastered all over the walls, this is a really nice and inviting place to come for a date night or just to chill with your friends. And of course, they always have a large selection of beers and bottles and on tap. And a trip to Kraftpaule would not be complete without trying their amazingly delicious tacos. All right, guys, so the flight is here. I feel like a kid in a candy store right now. I'm really excited for this. It is hot as hell out here and I need to cool down. So let's go ahead. First one we have up is called Helles from Kraftpaule. Let's go ahead and see what it tastes like. Prost. Oh yeah, that is light and bready and biscuity. The one thing that I really like about it right out the gate is it tastes like honey. It's got a sweetness to it that's very uncanny, and just look at how pretty that looks. That is a beautiful, clear, transparent beer. Yeah, it tastes wonderful. It tastes amazing. This is a really dangerous beer. As you can see, I've already crushed this one. It's super light. It's super refreshing. I'm not losing any like taste in my mouth. It's not stripping my mouth of moisture. This is a really, really exquisite beer, right? And so I'm sure a lot of you guys have had Helles before. It's a pretty simple style for the most part. It can be found all over Germany. And I will say that having a Helles from a craft beer bar, I've never had a Helles at a craft beer bar before. And I will say that this is a really nice introduction to the amazing line of beer that they have here in Kraftpaule. All right, the next beer we have up is called Hopfenweizen. I love the name. I think it's supposed to be a play on like a West Coast IPA mixed with a Hefeweizen, obviously. And it looks pretty, so Prost. Oh man, that right there is a juice bomb. That is so sweet. It's got like a hint of citrus going on there. There's the orange, the lime, the peach, the papaya, the mango. It's a very fruity beer, but on the finish, you get this like punch of dankness. It tastes like biting into a tree. I'm sure that probably sounds funny to a lot of you guys. So if you were to take a West Coast IPA and just squeeze a bunch of juice into it, this is exactly what it would taste like. It's got that hoppiness. It's got the hint of dryness on the finish as well. I will say that this is kind of stripping my mouth of its moisture only from that pininess, but I'm still being met with tons of fruit juice and citrus, and it tastes really good. And it only comes in at a 5.2%. Another one of those beers that's extremely dangerous, but it's definitely a hop forward beer. It's got that West Coasty pininess going on, which I personally like. All right, guys, so up next we have a Riesling Bock. I've never heard of this type of style in my life. I've obviously heard of a Riesling before, and I've heard of a Bock beer. It does come in at a 7.7%, so definitely not gonna be for the faint of heart. Prost. Oh man, that is very interesting. So on the tip of my tongue, I get a sweetness like I'm drinking a white wine. Obviously, Riesling is a white wine, but I'm getting like a ton of grapes. I'm getting a ton of green grapes specifically, not red grapes. And it is kind of stripping my mouth of the moisture, but in a good way, if that makes sense, right? You know how you drink wine. Wine is not one of those drinks that's gonna add moisture to your mouth. At least when I drink wine, it definitely strips my mouth of all of its moisture. I'm getting that same effect with this beer here, but where it differs is I'm getting this intense amount of grape, getting a tiny bit of lemon. I'm also getting some apple juice as well. And what it really reminds me of is it almost reminds me of a cider. And I know it comes in at a 7.7%. I'm getting a tiny bit of booziness in there as well. All in all, I like it. It's a good beer. Now, before we get too deep into the video, I want to let you guys know I'm drinking all of these beers, all right? So you're getting like the real authentic experience. I'm not cutting corners. I'm getting the full-fledged experience. So just wanted to let you guys know that. All right, now guys, I will say I'm like really getting pumped up here because this is the one beer that I am the most excited to try. And it is called the Irvia Weisse. And so obviously if you speak German, you know Irvia means strawberry. This is a strawberry Weiss beer. I'm super excited to try it. I love Weiss beer. I love cloudy, hazy beers. Just look at the coloring on that. It looks outstanding. It smells like a perfume, a rich amount of sweetness, and oh my god, I'm really excited for this one. So Prost. Oh man. Okay, let's dig into that one. Let's go back to the appearance real quick. So at first glance, when looking at this beer, it actually looks like a New England style IPA. It's got that haziness. It's extremely difficult to see through. If somebody were flicking me off right now directly in my face and I held this up to block them, I wouldn't be able to see what the hell they were doing. This is an extremely opaque beer, but let's go ahead and move on to the taste. This beer tastes outstanding. And even though it's been sitting here in the sun baking a little bit, it's still extremely cold and refreshing. And I'm getting like hints of citrus. I'm getting the pineapple, the peach, the papaya, the mango. It tastes really sweet. And then at the very last second, right when it's about to die out, you get absolutely crushed by strawberry. And if you guys know me, I love my strawberry and my red fruits. This tastes so good. The only thing that it's missing in my opinion is the seeds, but I will say this is an outstanding beer. I've never had a Weiss beer like this in my life, right? I've never had a hazy beer with strawberry in it, and so I will say this is a pleasant surprise. Kraftpaule, you guys are killing it. So sadly, we have reached the end of the beers from Kraftpaule, but like I mentioned earlier in the video, they do bring in beer from different breweries around Europe. So this next beer that we have up is actually from a brewery in Norway, and that brewery is called Irvia, and this is called Tasty Juice. It's a New England style IPA. It comes in at 6%, probably the lightest New England style IPA that I'm ever gonna try in my life. Every New England style IPA that I've had has been at least over 6.5%. I'm really excited to see what this one tastes like. So, Prost. Oh man, that, wow, that is making my mouth water. That is so dank and piney and resinous. As I'm drinking it, it almost kind of smells like cleaning supplies. Like it almost kind of smells like pine sol a little bit. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, but this is a very pungent, strong beer. And coming in at a 6%, it drinks like an 8%. Like it smells really good, it tastes really good. I've never had a New England style IPA from Norway, so this is a pleasant surprise. I will say that out of all of these, this one is actually probably punching me in the gut the most out of all of them. And it's only at a 6%, but it does have a lot of fruit going on. It's got the papaya, it's got the peach, it's got the pineapple, it's got the mango, but it does definitely have a kick to it, I will say. It's very dank and very resinous, and I swear if you were to just go and like take a bite out of a pine tree or a pine cone, this is kind of what this tastes like on the finish. Not a bad thing, not a terrible thing, but it is what it is. Up next, we are getting into those more traditional German styles of beer. This one is an alt beer from Superfreund. Never heard of the brewery before. Shout out to all my followers from Dusseldorf and from that area of Germany. This is my first alt beer that I've ever had in my life. I'm super excited for it. It's nice and cold. It looks really good. Prost. Oh man. Okay, sorry. So right out the gate, loads of bread and biscuit and crackers and cinnamon and raisin. You know what it actually tastes like? It tastes like a cinnamon raisin bagel. I don't know what alt beers are supposed to feature. I don't know what their flavor profiles are by any means, but what I can tell you is this is definitely a complex beer, right? It's not crap by any means. One, because I can see through it, but two, because I know that alt beer is huge here in Germany, especially coming out of Dusseldorf. But this is a really good beer. You know, will it be the first beer that I go for on a hot day? Most likely not, but it tastes really good. I think you guys will like it. And I actually can't wait to get to Dusseldorf to try fresh alt beer right there from the source. So I think you guys will like this one. It almost smells like coffee a little bit. It tastes like freshly baked bread and cinnamon and rye and sourdough and pumpernickel. It's a really bready beer. I'm gonna have to do my research on alt beer when I get home. This is a really good beer. Like, I've heard so much about alt beer. Obviously, coming from that region, Kolsch versus alt beer, which one is the best? I love my Kolsch because it's light, but I will say that this is a pleasant surprise, and I'm really glad that this was my first introduction into alt beer. All right, guys, round number 1 done. Let's go ahead and dive into round number 2. All right, guys, shout out to that construction company. They let me know that they were about to start moving some crazy heavy stuff. They told me, hey man, we don't want to ruin your video. If you want, we recommend sitting somewhere else because it's about to get really loud over here. Shout out to those guys. I'm gonna probably buy them a beer after this because they didn't need to tell me that, right? They saw that I have a lot of pride about beer, and they heard everything that I was saying, and they probably felt bad. So I'm gonna buy them a beer, but shout out to you guys. You're the best. All right, guys, so next beer we have up is from a brewery in London in the UK called Fuller's, and it's called London Pride. They call it a premium ale. I don't know what on earth that means, but it looks really good. So let's go ahead and get into it. Cheers. Oh man. Okay, so right out the gate, loads of bread, nuttiness, almost tastes like peanut butter a little bit. I know that probably sounds kind of funny, but it's super light. Super refreshing. This is like one of those beers that you will find in pretty much every pub in the UK. It tastes really good. It's really cold. And you know what's funny? If you guys have been to the UK, you will know that when you step into a pub, the beer may or may not be cold. So you don't know what you're getting yourself into. It might be room temperature beer. This is obviously served cold, but it tastes really, really good. It's really refreshing. This is another one of those dangerous beers that you will look up 10 beers later and you're still standing. It's just one of those beers that's super light, super refreshing. This is a really good one, so it's good. Okay guys, so next beer we have up is actually a city I know all too well. It's from a brewery called Gerstenfuss, and this beer is called Sonnengruß. So neighborhood brewery, I guess you can call it. Really excited for this one. It's actually the first sour that we're gonna be trying today. I'm actually not a huge fan of sours, but I did get a whiff of this one when Francisco brought it out to me, so really excited for this one. So, Prost. Oh man. That is so good. And so if you guys know me, you guys have watched any of like my beer videos before or anything like that, I'm not the biggest fan of sours, right? Because I feel like it strips your mouth of moisture. It's just, it's not like a really enjoyable experience for me. It typically kills my palate. It crushes any beer that I have after it, and it's just not that good. But I will say that this tastes really good. It tastes like apple, it tastes like cinnamon. It almost tastes like Christmas a little bit. Like it's got an apple cider feel to it. It tastes really good, and it only comes in at a 5.3%. This is actually probably one of the heaviest sours that I've ever had, but it's really good. And as you can see, it's nice and clear. It tastes pretty good. This is one of the best sours that I've had in my life. So the next beer we have up is from a brewery in Leeds in the United Kingdom. This is probably the prettiest beer that I'm gonna drink today. It looks outstanding. It looks refreshing. It almost looks like peach, banana, papaya. It looks like straight up juice. Oh, it smells so good. So let's go ahead and get into it. Prost. Okay, we gotta pause. All right, look guys, I don't know if we can call that a beer because it just tastes like straight up juice, right? It tastes so fruity and so sweet. I don't get any carbonation burn on the finish. It smells so good. If they were to make a candle out of this, I'm telling you, I'd probably buy the company, right? Because this just, it smells so good. I've had goozes before, right? But this is so good, and I'm rendered speechless because I just had a sour, right? which is known for killing your palate, not allowing you to taste any other flavors, but this just tastes so good. It tastes like peach nectar, mango nectar, papaya nectar, any like sweet juice that you would find at like your local market or grocery store. This is exactly what it tastes like, and it's weird. It's actually restoring the moisture to my mouth, right? Because the sour obviously kind of killed that a little bit. It tastes so good. And look, guys, I've tried beer all over the world. I don't even know how this is considered beer, because it tastes like juice. It tastes like something that you would have in Hawaii. They honestly should have just been like, hey, we're gonna put this on the kids menu, because it doesn't taste like it has any alcohol at all. But I will say it's a great drinking experience. And while it's not the best beer that I've had today, it's definitely like one of the most interesting drinking experiences that I've ever had. It's really good. All right, guys, so next beer we have up is from Sierra Nevada in California, USA. I probably had 100 of these. I love it. It's a classic West Coast style IPA in my opinion. Let's see if this beer tastes like what I remember it tasting like. This is the first one that I've had in 2022. Prost. Oh, yes. In the US right now, there's like a civil war going on, right? There's like corporate and there's traditional craft, right? So what's happening is a lot of great breweries in the US are being bought out by larger names. And there's a lot of craft brewers that are trying to hold on to what they know and what they love, which is their beer, which is their companies. Sierra Nevada, unfortunately, is one of those companies that got bought out. But every time I drink a Sierra Nevada beer, it just reminds me of what I know and love, which is craft beer. It tastes so good. It's so clean. And this is just one of those beers that is like the epitome of craft beer. Granted, they've been bought out, so I know it's controversial for a lot of people. Stone is another one of those companies that has been bought out, but I personally still like their beer. I like this beer, guys. Like, it tastes good. It's light, it's refreshing. It's got the citrus, it's got the stone fruit, you know, peach, papaya, mango, lime, cherry. It's got everything that I like personally. And so it's good. It's still good here in Germany. It's good in California. It's good in Hawaii. It's good in Florida. It's good in New York. It's good everywhere. I love Sierra Nevada. Nobody will tell me any different. So yeah, it's good. So this next beer that we've had, I've actually had it before, I'm not gonna lie. Shout out to Francisco for recommending this one. It is a fruited sour from Frankfurt from a brewery by the name of Frosch. So I'm really excited for this one. It's got Johannes beer. It's got a lot of fruit in it. It is a fruited sour. It looks stunningly beautiful. Let's go ahead and get into it. Prost. Okay, so first thing I will say is, unlike the sour and the guza that I had earlier, this one is stripping my mouth of its moisture. If somebody paid me to spit right now, I probably couldn't, but it actually tastes really good. You know what it tastes like? So, and I've had this once before. It tastes like sour cherry juice. And obviously it's got that black currant in it, that black currant juice. Yeah, that's an interesting, complex experience. So for like anybody out there that's like looking for a good introduction into sours or like guzas or into like lighter style beers with like a pungent aftertaste, this is gonna be right up your alley. I liked it the first time that I came here and tried it. I don't know if this is like the last pour that they're offering, but man, this thing is absolutely wrecking my stomach right now. It's got like a ton of acidity to it, and man, this thing is a palate killer. This thing will wreck your palate 110%. So last beer we have up, we have finally made it. It is from a brewery in North Carolina, USA called Hawks, and this beer is called Urban Orchard. So it is a cider, lighter beer. This is how we gotta finish the video. Let's go ahead, get into it. Oh man, right on the nose, it smells like perfume. It smells like sweetness, a little bit of sourness, but it smells like Christmas. It smells like holidays to me. Let's go ahead and get into the taste. Prost. Oh man, that is straight up apple juice. That is sweet. It's got a tiny bit of sourness on the finish. That is good. That is good. All right, guys, we did it. 12 beers. We have tried every beer here at Kraftpaule. This place is so good. All right, guys, so we have reached the end of the video. I'm sure you guys are probably wondering, Trey, what was your favorite beer? And obviously, you guys know me, the Helles. I love German style beers. Don't get me wrong, I love my craft beer, but since we're here in Germany and since I've lived here, I've realized that the beer is so good. I could not choose the Helles. It's just so good and so like sweet and so refreshing, and it's got that honey and breadiness and biscuitiness. This, in my opinion, is the best beer that they make here. This is probably also one of the best beers that I've had since we've been in Europe, right? And look, guys, like we've been to Belgium, we've been to Switzerland, we've been to the Czech Republic, we've been to Hungary. This is seriously like the best beer that I've had since we've been here in Europe. It's so light. It's so crisp. It doesn't kill my palate at all. It tastes good. This is like a really refreshing beer. All right, so thank you guys for all the love and support. We are heading to the Stuttgart Weindorf this weekend. By the way, if you guys ever want to grab a beer with me, hit me up in the comment section below. Let's go grab a beer. Love you guys. Thank you for all the love and support. Thank you. Mahalo for watching.